The price of Bitcoin is continuing to grind to the upside. Do we have confidence that we are going to go to much higher levels? Well, today we are going to be doing the technical analysis, the realistic projections. We'll be talking about the bearish case and the bullish case scenario locally, where we can find some possible day trading opportunities. Now, if we do take a look at the higher time frame, keeping it simple, you must have seen the break of the trend here. That does look pretty promising. Now, we are trying to attempt to break the value area high of the range that we started since the last drop that we had here in February, right? We formed a little bit of a downtrendy range. Now, we are trying to break the value area high. Will we successfully break above this value area high, or do we have a lot of resistance? Well, that's what I want to talk about in this episode, and looking at the projected moves, looking at the local price action. Now, of course, we do have the value area low from the big range of November of 2024 till February of 2025. That's all the way up at $93,000. Okay, so we do have that value area low, all of the lows that could be that support resistance flip. So we're starting to get into a very interesting area. Now, this is where I want to zoom in on the lower time frames and look at the different levels of resistance and support, looking at the projected move to the upside. Now, we need to recognize that we are in a new wave. So we got the uptrend here in April, right? Nice move to the upside, and then this sideways momentum. I think many were expecting the price to get below $83,000 before heading to the upside above 86,500. Most were expecting these lows. There was a bit of a liquidity, and the retracement was very shallow. It's very uncommon to get a retracement on a wave, okay, at the 0.236 Fibonacci and then get massive continuation to the upside. But this is a rare scenario. It does happen, but it's just rare. Well, this is one of the rare times that we just retrace to the 236 Fibonacci, and then we form a new wave to the upside. This is what we've been forming throughout the last 2 days, which does look pretty impulsive. You do see that large move to the upside that can already label as a wave 3 on the lower time frame. So it does look like that we are in a new wave formation to the upside. Now, most importantly, we need to know what are the strongest levels of resistance that we do have above us. And yes, we did claim the lower highs that we had from March, sitting at $88,700 range. We did kind of swing failure pattern, dropped a few $100, very interesting level for a nice little scalp, right? You did hit the level, you reject a few $100. For those aggressive traders out there, it is just a liquidity grab and a nice rejection. However, we are uptrending, right? So if you're trying to short, well, eventually you want to be very, very cautious. Getting into some local long positions to revisit the highs is a very good option in the uptrend. You just need to be aware of a larger pullback to happen at some point, right? So we'll be going specifically on the local time frame to really analyze the waves and the projections, taking into consideration the largest levels of resistance that we do have. Now, we do have a weekly naked point of control from the price action that we had on the second week of March. This range right over here, high volume node, slightly above $90,000, right? Weekly naked point of control. This is an important level to take into consideration. There is a harmonic pattern that I do really like. That is a cipher pattern right over here. The 7.8 Fibonacci taken from this pivot high is just at the naked point of control, that weekly naked point of control. This is sitting slightly above $90,000. So this, without a doubt, is a zone to pay attention, because the price could react there and start pulling back, whether that is going to be a few $100 or maybe even a few $1,000s. Get a large pullback after this momentum to the upside that we've had, right? Level to take into consideration, and then we'll zoom in on the lower time frame to see how this momentum can develop considering the impulse that we had in the last 2 days. So that is a major level of resistance to pay attention. Of course, the price could really break out from that level if it is going to be extremely impulsive. However, when we do zoom in on the lower time frame, we can see how we've moved very impulsively. Now, we need to consider all of this sideways momentum that we formed last week is a corrective move, either in a WXY right over here or a possible triangle formation. The thing is, a new wave has been created, and for the moment we only have one wave to the upside. All of this is just one wave. This is one wave, this is another wave, this is one wave, this is another wave. So it does look like that we could be at the end stages of this wave. And the main reason why is because in the middle right over here, you have the strongest wave, which would be your wave 3. So you need to really take into consideration that a few 4, 5 waves are forming here just because you have a couple of 1, 2s from the start of this wave. So could it be that we are just at the end stages? Could we break above the highs of yesterday, attempt a solid breakout, and maybe range to then look for the larger pullback, right? This could be a pullback and we're looking for a higher low. Could it be aggressive and we just roll down? Well, by the looks of things, it does look like that a pullback to form a higher low to get a next movement to the upside is very, very likely. And the main reason why is because we are in a fresh new wave, right? All of this has been a wave on the higher time frame. This has been a wave to the upside. And what you want to see develop is either 3 waves or 5 waves. For the moment, we only have one wave to the upside. Now, it's very important to focus on the very local time frames. Let's go right away on the 5-minute time frame and analyze this momentum, because there are a few scenarios that could be happening here. Now, we are taking into consideration that this wave is starting all the way down here, right, at the $83,900. Why is it starting from here? Well, as mentioned, this is the end of the correction, either in a triangle right over here, which is definitely a possibility, or a WXY that we've been discussing throughout the last few days, where we have the W, the X, and a quick zigzag in your Y right over here, very shallow, just retracing to the 236 Fibonacci, but now we need to confirm that we are in a new wave. So let's zoom in on the 5-minute time frame, and before we do the local technical analysis, I want to remind you that there is a great bonus on Weeks, guys. On Weeks, you only need an email and a password to sign and start trading. With the link down below, you get 20% deposit bonus. You just need to wait 3 days and you'll be getting that 20% airdrop. It's a maximum of $2,000. So if you deposit $10,000, you're getting $2,000 on top of that to increase your capital for your trading activity. You also get 25% fee reduction on your trades, guys. Make sure to take advantage of these bonuses with the second link down below. Now, focusing on the lower time frame, right? Looking at this price action, taking a look at the liquidity, we do have significant liquidity still above $89,000. So it does look like that, that push up is kind of, let's just sweep up that liquidity. A lot of people are interested in shorts, either for the swing short position. I'm just interested in local scalp shorts because I realize that a push to the upside here is very, very possible. Now, when we do analyze the start of this wave that we started, all right, just early Sunday, right? On Sunday, we did get that start of the move to the upside. There are several ways in looking at this, right? Could it be a finished structure or it is still developing? Well, when we do take a look at the possibilities, we have this one right over here, which is still looking for another push to the upside. When we do analyze the local structure here from the start of the impulse, we possibly have a double 1-2. Of course, your second 1-2 here is part of your third wave, where you have 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 right over here. Now, right over here that we do see is massive volatility to the upside and to the downside, very well known as an ABC flat, right? Where you get the movement down, you get a 3-wave structure to the upside, and then the very aggressive move down. This is very common for an ABC flat, where your C wave is just very aggressive, sweeps up the low of the A wave, and then comes up here and claims the high, right? So As we do see, we could be still developing your fifth wave, right? Could this be the end of the fifth wave? Well, eventually we'll be talking about that now in the next coming minutes. There is a possibility that this has been the fifth wave and now we're going to roll over. But as we can see, we've been moving up here in a contracting diagonal. We got our nice explosive wave to the upside, which you always want to consider as your wave 3. Now, for the moment, this is very 3-wavy. Right? So this correction would be possibly part of that lower time frame wave 4. And we are just slowly grinding here either with multiple 1-2 setups, right? Which you would expect a nice third wave to the upside to break, potentially hitting $89,000 plus and getting a little grind to the upside. Or you're forming a contracting move, right? More of an expanding move in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrective move, and you're going to break up in your third wave. Then what you're looking for is another movement to the upside here, very choppy, to then possibly correct down, completing a 5-wave move to the upside. And a 1, 2, 3, you got your flat in 4, and then you're still in the formation of your 5th wave. Now, usually when you correct, it is very common to retrace all the way down to your 4th wave, right? So if this is going to be your first wave 1, or your wave A, right? In this case, it's the first wave from that major range that we formed the last few days, right? And last week, right? Big range, and the wave starts from here. Now, you would see the price very likely come all the way down to your wave 4, which is around about 86,300, possibly going to even lower levels. So we are waiting for that possibility, right? Could it be that we are still in that wave 5 and we're just going to slowly grind to the upside? Well, that's what you need to be paying attention here in the next coming hours to see if we get that push to the upside, maybe hitting the weekly naked point of control, the cipher target as well. That is very much a possibility, right? The 7/8 Fibonacci from that harmonic pattern coming to the weekly naked point of control as you do finish this 5th wave, just grinding here to the upside, right? We'll be paying attention to that in the Legends trading community to see if we can spot the possible top and local double triple tops here on this move to the upside. So what is the bearish case scenario? Well, the bearish case scenario is that you have finished already a movement to the upside. Now, I do like this scenario right over here as a possible flat, as I mentioned on the first option, this one right over here. However, I need to consider, all right, well, maybe this has been the end of the 5 waves. And what we are developing right now is an ABC flat already, right? Now, the main reason why I don't like this too much is because your wave 5 did move up in a very 3-wave structure. So I'm kind of preferring the bullish case where we do actually get the breakout and attempt to go to higher levels, right? Above $89,000 in the next coming hours potentially. But this one needs to be taken into consideration. And the main reason why is because you have your wave 1, 2, your third wave right over here, 4 and 5. And what you're developing right now, which is important to form a lower high in this region, I'm not that interested in taking this short position. I would be rather interested in taking a long position from lower levels if we were to get an aggressive move down here in the next coming hours, considering this ABC flat. The main reason why is because you have a 3-wave move down here for your A wave, right? It's very 3-wavy. Then this movement to the upside, also considering this contracting move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correction, and then a very explosive move up to claim the highs. It's in the end, it is a 3-wave move. So I need to consider this option where the price suddenly gets down very aggressively in the coming hours to sweep below the A wave. Now, if that were to be the case, we are considering a new fresh wave to the upside, right? Get that corrective move to the downside, potentially in an ABC flat. And what we're looking at here then next is another leg to the upside. Main reason why is because the market moves either in 3 waves or in 5 waves, right? So for the moment, we have got only 1 wave to the upside. If we move down very aggressively to this area, what are the most important levels of support? Well, we do have the 50% and the golden pocket been very common areas to find support and then start reversing. Your 50% Fibonacci is slightly below the A wave. So yeah, it could be the case that if we were to roll down very aggressively, this is your first reaction level, forming kind of a swing failure pattern from your A wave. We'll be paying attention very closely on the Legends trading community to see the reaction if we were to come down there, right? Drop down a couple of $1,000 and then analyze the situation. Best case scenario for this flat would be aggressively moving down even to the golden pocket. Golden pocket is around about $85,500, and the most common flat is an expanding flat. So if we were to consider here this movement down in the A wave, the high B wave right over here, the 1.618 is where we do have the golden pocket, right? So 1.618 extension from the ABC flat is coming down to the golden pocket of the move that we've had in the last few days. So it's either 50% Fibonacci to hold just a regular flat to claim the A wave, or the 1.618, which is sitting at the golden pocket. Now, golden pocket is the most respected Fibonacci retracement, so it would be nice to come all the way down there and analyze the situation, then to look for the recovery back up in the next coming days above $89,000. So two scenarios that we are considering here locally, right? Either a finished move to the upside and we are developing an ABC flat in the next coming hours, moving down very aggressively. That's what you usually see in a C wave, because if that were to be the case, your C wave is very aggressive, right? When we do take a look at the bullish case scenario, well, if this were to be ABC flat, you can see how your C wave moved down very aggressively to the lows, okay? And these are some of the scenarios that we are looking at locally. Thank you very much for joining, and I will see you in the next one.